thought we'd take a couple minutes to talk about the choices for water supply piping. Now, the oldest piping you're probably still going to see in use is this, galvanized steel piping.
So you can actually use this for drinking water?
You could. It was used up to about the Second World War. I mean, you're not going to do a new house with it anymore, but you still need to tie on to some of that old work. The piping is actually a steel pipe with a galvanized finish on the outside and the inside. The connections were cut and threaded, and then you make these fittings onto it. So it took a lot of time from a labor standpoint.
And it's galvanized, I presume, to help prevent rust.
Right, but the issue with this was that if this galvanized finish on the inside wore out at all, it would rust from the inside and clog it down.
So we're really only going to use that in sort of limited retrofit situations,
Yeah.
because copper is really what we use.
Absolutely, copper is king, and it comes in a bunch of different styles and grades. This is the most common, straight sticks, either 10 feet or 20 feet long. This is a very standard sized half-inch, but it also comes in different grades. You can see right here, there's some blueprint that says Type L. It's the heaviest gauge for above ground use, okay? And that's a good thick sidewall.
So ½ is the diameter, and the Type L is actually the size of the
sidewall thickness. You have 1/2 and 3/4 in this Type L. And the lighter gauge right here is red print, and it's Type M.
So that's a thinner gauge. So when do we use which?
Well, it depends on local codes. So in some places you can't use this Type M for potable water because they just don't like that the sidewall's so thin.
Okay.
All right. Now, connection methods, we've been doing the same for many, many years. It is this. It's a soldered connection where you clean the inside of the fitting, you clean the pipe, you apply flux, you then put high heat with a torch and apply a little bit of solder, and you fuse that pipe together.
And do we have different gauges for the fittings, an L and an M?
No, that's one thing that's standard. The fittings are all the same sidewall thickness.
Oh, great. Okay.
Now, there's also a couple of solderless connections. In this, you would take 2 wrenches and tighten up these nuts, and it's called a compression connection. And this one requires no tools. This has stainless steel teeth down inside and an O-ring. When you push this on, that's made.
Come on, that's all there is to it?
That's it.
And that's going to hold, that's a watertight joint?
Yeah, you're not going to do a whole house with it, but if you're in a tight space trying to make a connection, it could be a real lifesaver for you.
Yeah, well, it's save you a lot of time, I guess.
That's right. Now, copper has gone up in price, so people are starting to look for alternatives, and one of them is plastics.
Plastic, right. So plastic, I think PVC.
Right, that's PVC, but that's only for drainage, not for potable water supply.
Okay.
For potable water supply, you need to look at this. This is called CPVC. The C stands for chlorinated polyvinyl chloride, and that's good for use with water.
A little different color so we can distinguish it.
Right, it comes in the standard sizes of 1/2 and 3/4.
Yeah.
The connections would look very similar to the copper connections with T's and elbows, but we wouldn't solder this. We would actually use a cleaner and a special cement that would allow us to fuse those pipes together.
Okay, so we got a plastic option.
Right. Now, but more and more people are looking at one more choice in plastic piping. It was about 20 years ago that I first saw PEX, cross-linked polyethylene. It comes to us from Europe, and it's becoming more and more popular here in the United States.
You've been using it for a long time, and you're a big fan of it, right?
Absolutely. It's a very, very durable plastic, and it installs quickly. It comes in coils in a variety of sizes and colors. This would be blue for cold water, red for hot water, but it also comes in straight sticks, again in the blue and the red. Now, the labor savings is where the story really gets good. You can run this like an electrician runs wire on a home run system. You can come from the basement and fish it up into a building. Now that means there's a time savings, and also there's very few fittings inside the wall.
So it's a straight shot, and with less fittings, I guess we have...
Less chance of leaks.
Okay, but there are at least a couple fittings.
Yeah, and there's a lot of choices for those connection methods. Okay, so one of the common ones would be this, a crimp style. This is a copper ring with a black coating, and this is a stainless ring. And the way that would be connected is you put the ring on. Just hold that. Now that fitting sits right down inside there.
Okay.
And then there's a special tool which would compress that ring to the right dimension.
Can you make that for me?
Yeah.
Watch my thumb.
We got it?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. Now that's made. Okay.
And that's not going anywhere.
Right. Now that's a simple one. Here's another connection that I actually prefer. Is this. It works on the same principle. Here is a brass outer ring, and that fits onto the pipe. But now you'll notice that this doesn't fit inside.
This is too wide of a diameter.
That's right. So now what I need to do is to expand that pipe.
It's a special tool.
Yeah.
As you crank it up, you can actually see the pipe expanding right here.
Right, so
Press
now,
that in there for you. Right.
push it in.
How's that?
Now you bring the band up, the ring.
Other side of the tool, you've just reversed it here.
Okay, now when I draw that up, that is a forever connection.
Oh, that's nice and tight.